What's up guys, JP back at you once again, bringing you guys another video. This time we're going to be doing a top 10. It's been a while since I've done a top 10. And the reason we are doing a top 10 today is because a couple of my good friends here on YouTube a while back, about 25 weeks ago to be exact, started a weekly series where they would do a top 10 rankings video every Tuesday based on a predetermined topic or theme. I thought that was a super cool idea, but unfortunately I really wasn't doing YouTube at the time, so I had to bow out of it and not participate. And I just, was kind of all over the place, so I just decided not to partake in the awesomeness. But I decided 25 episodes in, why not jump on board now? What better time than the present? So I think it's cool to just jump in at any time, so that's what I'm going to do. There's a few people who kept doing it, Mood616 obviously, Dubby Dubbles still does these, I believe, You and Your Horror Movies, Movie Guy 666, I think Jesse still does these videos, so sub all their channels down below, and if there's anybody else that I missed, definitely let me know and I'll put your link down below, and I'm glad to, jump in on this because it seems like a lot of fun. Yeah, so I'm going to try to do one of these every Tuesday. If the theme fits with something that I feel like I can make a video for, then I'll definitely do it. So yeah, let's get into it this week. This week is an interesting one. It's top 10 Stephen King movies. So I thought that was an awesome one to jump in on because I love Stephen King adaptations. So this is going to be a lot of fun. I will say that this list is not the best Stephen King films in my opinion, because some of the films that I consider the best are not at the top of the list. These are just my favorites, the ones that I constantly revisit, the ones that I like the most, even though I would acknowledge that a certain film might be better than something that's higher on my list. These are just my favorites this time. The best would be a different list. So yeah, let's jump into this. Coming in at number 10, this might surprise a lot of people, but it's The Shining. Stanley Kubrick's The Shining. I do really love this film, but I like all of these other 9 better. This is definitely one of the best Stephen King adaptations. It is pure genius. It's such a cinematic film that you just love to look at it. Unfortunately, I just don't revisit this one a whole lot. I usually only watch it in the wintertime and not every year. But it's a very solid, very effectively creepy, batshit crazy performance by Jack Nicholson. It's just all around fantastic film. Just not one that I revisit as often as these other 9. So coming in at number 9, we have Creepshow. This is the first of a few anthology horror films by Stephen King. This is a very solid one. You got the They're Creeping Up on You story, which is the bug one. I actually really like the Stephen King story, or in Creepshow, the one with Stephen King himself. That one I've always kind of liked for some reason, even though a lot of people wouldn't consider it their favorite. That's actually probably my favorite in the anthology. And something so cool about Creepshow is it feels like typically when you have an anthology and you ask somebody what's their favorite segment, they usually will all kind of unanimously agree on one segment. But Creepshow, I've heard people say that Crate is their favorite segment. I've heard people say that the last segment is their favorite segment. And, for the most part, everybody loves, there's somebody who loves every segment the most in Creepshow, and I think that's so cool. That's why it's one of the best anthologies. So yeah, Creepshow coming in at number 9. Then we have a new one coming in at number 8. Now this film I just recently seen for the first time a few months ago, and I absolutely loved it. I thought it had one of the most effective, surprising, perfectly well executed endings I've seen in a long time, especially for a film that came out in the 90s, and that is Stephen King's Storm of the Century. This was a miniseries that I had passed up many times. I just didn't think I would enjoy it that much. you know, I remembered seeing scenes of it, and I never really heard people talk about it that much, so I always kind of was like, yeah, I'll see it later, I'll see it later. I'm not really going to rush out and see this one. But, man, I ended up grabbing it on this, shout out to Echo Bridge Entertainment, 7 bonus movies. You buy Storm of the Century and get 7 damn bonus movies, and they're all crap. You got stuff on here that's completely ridiculous. I would have paid $1 more just to have Storm of the Century by itself and not the other 7 movies, because it really makes this release look so awful. But anyway, Storm of the Century, fantastic, fantastic movie. Just slightly dated in terms of CGI and a few other things, but besides that, man, super powerful ending. Gotta love this film. I haven't really heard anybody praise it like I have been recently. So that's numbers 8. Then we have number 7, which is Stephen King's The Mist. And you want to talk about powerful endings, this is probably the most powerful ending that I've maybe seen in film history. The types of feelings that you get off of this ending, you know, sadness, anger, just pure shock. It's truly amazing. I recently revisited this one. This is, to me, this is almost a near perfect film in terms of enjoyment. It really only suffers from a little bit of CGI, but if you watch it in black and white, it helps out a little bit. The CGI still shows through and is obviously doesn't look the greatest, but if you use your imagination a bit, this film is just truly outstanding. I love The Mist. It's one of the best films in this top 10 list. I gave it like a 9.5 out of 10. I really, really love The Mist. There's so many things going on in The Mist. In terms of the religious thing that's happening, where you have the crazy religious lady who's leading, you know, just watch it in black and white, because that's probably the best way to watch it. And then after that, coming in at number 6, I believe, we have Graveyard Shift, which is honestly one of the films that I watch every Halloween. I mean, this is always on at AMC's Fear Fest. It's always a film that just feels like it goes perfect with the season of Halloween. I'll pop it in during October. I'll catch it on TV. I have it playing in the background. It's a film that I love to throw on or catch on TV every time during that season. It's just something, usually early in the season 2, you know, early October, I'll catch this, and that's when I know that October is upon us, and I love that feeling. It's a really cool movie too. I mean, the blue collar worker guys down in the you know, this cotton mill with all these rats and stuff. It just has a creepy atmosphere to it. It has you know, it feels hot and sticky down in there. I just love the atmosphere of this film. It's a great creature feature, and it's surprisingly, even though it might not be one of the best Stephen King adaptations out there, it's one of the funnest. So Graveyard Shift is really high on my list, and I only seen it for the first time maybe like 5 or 6 years ago, and ever since then I've been, you know, watching it over and over again. It's a great flick. After that, we have number 5, and that is Christine. John Carpenter's Christine is a film that I was super impressed by the first time that I seen it, because I'd always known what it was. I've seen bits and pieces of it before. I wasn't the biggest fan of Maximum Overdrive, so I was like, killer cars, I don't know, they're kind of silly, just, you know, leave the roads, you know, get off the road, run into the woods. Like it just feels like it has so much room for plot holes throughout. But this film is not about the killer car. It's about a character's de-evolution into madness and insanity, and that's what I like about it. You know, the pure tonal shift of the character of, I think his name's Marty, is just outstanding. Like, he is a complete dickhead once he starts rebuilding Christine and things like that. It's a great film about two friends, and one of the friends just turning into a bad evil person. I love Christine. It's one that I wish would get a Blu-ray release, because to me Twilight Times doesn't exist, so I hope that one day Christine gets a proper Blu-ray release. Christine is awesome. Coming in at number 4, we have Stephen King's Pet Sematary, one of my all-time favorites, man. It's a film that scared the hell out of me as a kid. The Zelda scene is one of the most terrifying things I've ever seen. It literally gave me a nightmare, and no film, I don't think, has really done that, you know, before or since then. It's kind of like the only film to scare me that bad. And what's so incredible about that scene is it almost has nothing to do, besides a little bit of character development, it almost has nothing to do with the overall story of Pet Sematary. It comes out of nowhere, you're not expecting it, you're like, what the hell is this? They use a man to play the sister, so it's even extra creepy. That scene alone is the reason I love this film. But besides that, it's also a really well done film. It plays on so much important issues about death and things like that. I love Pet Sematary. It's a strong film, but I can't watch it all the time because it depresses the fuck out of me. Because I'm not gonna spoil anything, but it's kind of mean-spirited, and it's a downer of a film. So Pet Sematary, even though it's an amazing film, I can't watch it all that much. Breaking into the top 3. At number 3, we have Carrie. This one has climbed and climbed and climbed the list of Stephen King films. It has become one of my all-time favorite films just in the past 5 years or so. Every time I watch Carrie, I'm truly amazed at how amazing of a film this is. I absolutely love Carrie, everything about it. It is so well done, and it's underappreciated. I know that it used to get a lot of love, but it almost feels like, oh yeah, Carrie, yeah, classic. Carrie's a classic. But people really don't talk about it like it's one of the best ever. And it is to me. It really is. The film is just amazing. I love Carrie. Top 3 Stephen King. And probably would make my top of all time somewhere in the higher portions of the world, depending on if I did a top 100 or what. But yep. After that, we have number 2, and this just barely nudges out Carrie, and this is more for nostalgic reasons, and that's Children of the Corn. This is a film that I watched a lot as a kid. I watched all the sequels when they came out. I would rent them from, Children of the Corn 2, which I had on VHS as a kid, and then, when 3 came out, I rented that, and when 4 came out, I rented that. When 5 came out, I rented that. Even 6, I had rented in the video store, and I loved them all. Wasn't until I got older and I realized that most of them are complete garbage, but the original always holds up. You can check it out today, and it might be a little bit dated, a little bit slow, but you can't deny the scariness of the kids and just the fucked up nature of what's going on. Solid film and very, very creative. One of the religious aspect of this film is really well done. I'm sure it's well done in the book as well. But that's what makes this film so strong, is the fact that they're kids and the religious aspect of what they're doing. It's, really creepy. Children of Corn coming in at number 2. And then my number 1 is it's easily my number 1 because this is a film that I watch all the time, and it's long as hell, but it is it. This was a TV miniseries, and it is a very strong flick. The only thing wrong with it, in my opinion, absolutely the only thing wrong with it, is the ending. The ending is trash. It's complete garbage, and it makes no sense to me, and it almost tarnishes the film. But if the first half of the film, the first part of the miniseries with the kids, that's definitely the best part of it. But as I've gotten older, I've learned to like the part with the adults too. I just really hate that ending. It's actually a scary film. It is scary. Like, the clown is scary. The fact that you're dealing with kids in the 60s or whatever era it is scary. It's a goddamn creepy-ass clown. And for clowns being notoriously known as creepy or scary, there are literally barely any films that have done a good job making them scary. It is the best at it, and it is one of the best scary films ever made. I mean, Clown House is another good clown movie, but it's so hard to see. It actually made clowns terrifying. I've heard so many stories about people saying this is the film that scared them more than any other film. Unfortunately, it actually never scared me that much because I had seen it a little bit older in life after I've already watched, you know, tons and tons of horror films. But I can appreciate and I'm aware of just how terrifying it could be, and you know, still gets under my skin a little bit when when I'm watching it. I can definitely see what people see the clown and how they see him. So that is it for my top 10. Sorry this video drug on a little bit, but I got really excited in there. And I just want to say that there are tons and tons of great Stephen King adaptations. It's actually one of the most prevalent things in horror is the Stephen King adaptation in horror history all throughout. And what can I say? I mean, there's plenty of films that could have made this list as well. But these are my favorite in order, my 10 favorite. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure you sub the other guys. And if you haven't, hop on Top 10 Tuesdays. It's a blast. Peace out.